Hello, welcome to Lemon's Juice, where we talk anything and everything entertainment. I'm, of course, Lemon himself, Zeke Lemon, and that is Crash right there, and this is my review for Transformers 1. But before we get into that, let's get the house clean out of the way, shall we? I'm going to leave a like, comment below, let me know your thoughts on Transformers 1, and of course, hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, all that out of the way, let's get into the review, shall we? So, this movie, as it was coming out, I kind of had like a really long ride going into like my excitement level with it, because I'll be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of the trailer. Because one, Peter Cullen wasn't coming back, and I was just like, well, how can you have someone else being Optimus? Do love Chris Hemsworth, but I was just like, okay, I don't know how I'll be able to hear Optimus and not Chris Hemsworth. Now, granted, his name is Orion Pax in this film, and just a lot of big names in this movie. And usually, when you have an animated film and you don't have many actual voice artists, it just seems like, okay, well, they have this IP, they want to make some money, so they hired called in a bunch of favors from A-star actors and actresses, and it's going to be a little cash grab. And again, to me, the trailer just wasn't that good. I was curious to see, the origin of Optimus Prime and Megatron, to see, how they go from being best friends to, the paths that they do end up going down. And I will say, during the beginning, because you hear the critics going, this may be the best Transformers movie of all time, maybe animated film of the year. And while I was watching the beginning, I was like, this movie's good, don't get me wrong. Like, the whole first half, I was like, yeah, this is good, I'm having a good time, I'm laughing, I'm really engaged, I'm really curious to see how this thing is going to end up. But, best Transformers movie of all time? I don't know. Best animated film of the year? Definitely not. Then there becomes a turn. And that turn is when Optimus starts to act like Optimus and Megatron starts to act like Megatron. And Megatron, to me, is the most interesting and the most interesting character in this whole entire movie. He is probably my favorite performance out of all of them. David Tyree Henry does an absolutely fantastic job. And I will say, overall with the voice actors, I was able to take away, who they were and just accept them as the character that they are. It did take me a little bit to get comfortable with Chris Hemsworth, but I did at the end, towards the end, I was like, okay, yeah, no, I just see Optimus. I see Orion Pax. I don't fully see Chris Hemsworth. David Tyree Henry, I was able to see D16 or Megatron from the get-go. And again, the performance, once we do start to see those Megatronisms and you do start to see this relationship deteriorate a little bit, the movie just goes up to a whole other level and really, really starts to sing, where it does elevate to a point where I am going, yeah, no, this very well may be the best Transformers movie ever made. This is in consideration for best animated film of the year. Like, I really don't know which one I prefer more between this and Inside Out 2, because also the things that, they bring up within this film, like I said, these two guys are best friends, but, they grew up and they always knew this one way of life. And Optimus was like, man, there has to be more to this. While D16 is like, you know what? I'm kind of fine where everything's at. But then, they find out the truth. And I've always seen it. And when I got done watching this movie, I kind of took it as if, like, let's say religion was proven to not be real. I'm not here to say it is or it isn't. I'm just saying, it's one of those things that we can't prove it is or it isn't real. But let's say we were to prove that it was not real. What would that happen to all of the Christians and all of the religions that are proven to be fake? Again, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying, if it was proven to be fake, the anarchy that would cause. And I think that's some of the things that it's like somewhat implying within this movie, especially when it comes to D16/Megatron, because watching D16 go from this, happy-go-lucky, stick to the rules, do all of these things, then find out the truth and just going through this complete turn is really, really fun, interesting, exciting, and really heartbreaking to watch. And just watching them go back and forth, and you just seeing how, like, Optimus or Orion Pax is going, this is no longer my friend. It is so elevating to watch, and I had an absolutely fantastic time watching it. Now, also, we have Keegan-Michael Key playing Bumblebee, or B16, or B, or Badasstatron, as he would say in this film quite a bit. He's more the comic relief. And, it's pretty funny how most people come to know Bumblebee as someone who is completely mute. Now, I never really watched the cartoon. and I don't really remember the 80s Transformers movie that well. I do know I watched it, but I don't remember it that well. But in the Michael Bay films, he's basically mute and he talks through his radio. So to see Bumblebee never shut up through his voice box, and if this is what I heard rumored to be the prequel to the Michael Bay films, it is kind of heartbreaking, and I'm like, man, it's gotta suck when he loses it. But yeah, there's a lot of great character dynamics with it. But at the heart and the core of it, it does focus on Optimus and Megatron. And again, that building of that friendship. Because again, even though in the beginning, well, I'm like, yeah, this movie's fine. It's good, but I don't know if it's really like, the best movie of the year or anything like that. All of that is very, very necessary because of where these characters are going to end up. You all know where they're going to go to, and also where they show how both of them have really strong leadership tendencies. Like at the end, you do understand why some people side with Optimus. You do understand at the end why some people side with Megatron and why they would choose to follow Megatron and go with him. And at the end of the day, I just get left out, and I was really at a loss of words. I really did not know how to go about this review because, again, I don't want to spoil anything, but we do know where these guys go towards the future, where I am kind of like, man, I hope the live action team watched this animated flick and took some notes, because if we just focus on our Transformers and showing the relationship dynamics between the Transformers, the movies are going to elevate a lot more, especially within live action, because, unfortunately, this is just the reality of it is. This is a fantastic movie. This is a spectacular movie. Again, one of the best animated flicks. Hell, one of the best movies overall, period, of the whole entire year. But there are some people who are not going to take this movie seriously simply because it's animated. And I just think, as much as I disagree with them, I'm not going to fault them for that. They have every right to think that way. But if this was done in the live action tournament, in live action form, I should say, this would be, I really do think will be like one of the biggest surprises of the whole entire year. So, if I had to rank it on the lemon scale for Transformers 1, where it goes sour lemon, expired store-bought lemonade, store-bought lemonade, lemonade, freshly squeezed lemonade, and strawberry lemonade, to me, Transformers 1 is a freshly squeezed lemonade. Again, a little bit of a slow start, but again, all very, very necessary. I wouldn't have taken anything out. I wouldn't have changed anything. I think all those elements were definitely needed to really, show the bond between Optimus and Megatron. And then, once we get to the second half where the movie really starts to sing and, you start to become familiar with these relationship dynamics that we've come to know and love of the Transformers that we know, the movie really does sing and elevate quite a bit. So yeah, slow start still engaging overall. Had a great time with it, but I say Transformers 1 is definitely worth heading out to the theaters for. Paying full price or matinee, doesn't matter. It is going to be worth your $1. So leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts on Transformers 1. If you didn't make it this far, please leave a like. I would greatly appreciate that. And hit that subscribe button, as we have a lot more content heading your way. We got Agatha All Along, The Penguin, Lord of the Rings is coming out. And if you like some wrestling, we also got Monday Night Raw and SmackDown reviews and the occasional PLE on the road to Bad Blood right now. So yeah, hit that subscribe button for all that content heading our way very soon. And until next time, guys, I'll see you here at Lemon Studios.